Hello learner, greetings of the day. Let us discuss about homogeneous coordinate system. Homogeneous coordinate system is the one where we try to retain the same coordinate system for all type of transformations. Maybe it is translation, rotation or scaling. So what are we trying to maintain uniformity here? It is the matrix order that we try to maintain uniform. So let's see what is this homogeneous coordinate system with the help of an example. You can just see here an equation, and the equation says that P dash is equal to M1 into P plus M2. So this can be a general matrix form or a general equation for all the three types of transformation. So it can be translation, rotation and scaling. So for all these three, we can consider this as a common equation. Here P and P dash represents point, and this can be represented in the form of a column vector, or it can be represented as a column matrix. So we have already seen how to represent a point in the form of matrix. The first row is x coordinate, the second row is y coordinate. So we consider this as a column matrix. We know P is a point and P dash is a transformed point. So what is M1 and M2 over here? M1 is a matrix, and the order of the matrix M1 is 2 by 2 or 2 cross 2. 2 rows and 2 columns we have, and this is a matrix which contains multiplicative factors. So we multiply this particular matrix M1 with the point P. So what should be this M1, or what are the elements of this matrix M1? We will see that shortly, but that is the one which we have to decide depending upon the transformation, type of transformation. So we have here M1 and M2. M1 is a multiplicative matrix. Elements of that is the decision of elements of the matrix M1 we are supposed to take. Next, the matrix M2 we have, even the order of this element what we have, order of this matrix M2 what we have is 2 by 2, or we can take this as a column matrix. M2 is a column matrix containing 2 elements, and we call this matrix M2 as a translational matrix. So this is a matrix containing translational terms. So if we consider the first type of transformation, that is translation, the matrix M1 which has to be multiplied with the point would be identity matrix. So here M1 is identity matrix, and we know what is identity matrix. The diagonal elements are 1, rest the other elements are 0. So this matrix, identity matrix, is multiplied by the point, and then the next matrix M2 what we have, as I already said, it is a translational matrix. So this matrix actually contains the elements required for translation, or it can be x component of the displacement and y component of the displacement. So you add that translational terms with the point where M1 is the identity matrix. So that's about the translation. When we go for the next transformation, that is rotation, or it could be the scaling, rotation or scaling, this M2 matrix, this M2 matrix what we have, it will contain the pivot element, or what you call it as the fixed point of rotation, reference point of rotation, and that is for rotation I am speaking. It is for rotation. It's a pivot point that you consider here for M2, or it can be, if it is a scaling type of transformation, the matrix M2 would contain the scaling fixed point about which you want to scale. So here this is a general equation which could be considered now for all the three type of transformation. So remember, for translation M1 is identity matrix, but for the rotation or scaling, this matrix M2 will not contain any translational elements. Only for translation M2 will contain translational elements, but for rotation or scaling, this M2 will contain pivot point, and for scaling it would be the fixed point. So this is a general equation. Next we will see how to represent this homogeneous coordinate system. So if it is two-dimensional coordinate position representation, we consider only x coordinate and y coordinate. But since we are going to consider any more homogeneous coordinate system, if it is a 2D point, even if it is 2D point, we will expand this representation of 2D from xy to 3 elements, that is xh, yh and h. So xh represents x coordinate in homogeneous coordinate system, and next yh is y coordinate in the homogeneous coordinate system, and h represents a non-zero value, or you can call it as a homogeneous parameter, and that h value is nothing but given by xh by x, or you can also in the other way around, x is equal to xh by h. So x coordinate and then y coordinate is given by yh divided by h. So x and y are the new coordinates that you are trying to calculate here after translation or rotation or scaling. So this new coordinate x and y you can calculate with the help of the homogeneous parameter, a non-zero parameter, and the xh, that is the coordinates before applying transformation. So remember, even if it's a 2D point, we extend it to 3 elements, and that third element is homogeneous parameter. So it can be translation, rotation or scaling, all three. For all three, the representation remains the same. So let's see one by one the two-dimensional translation matrix, and then two-dimensional rotational matrix, and then two-dimensional scaling matrix. How this could be extended, or how this could be represented in homogeneous coordinate system. To begin with, we have here two-dimensional translational matrix. That's the first type of transformation what we have. And as we have already seen how a 2D matrix, translation matrix, we can represent. So it is something like x dash, y dash. It's the point P dash what we are trying to represent, and that's LHS, which is equal to the original point xy, which is again written in the form of column matrix, the point P, which is actually added with the translational matrix, and that translational components is given by Tx and Ty. This was our original representation, but now this translation matrix can be represented in homogeneous coordinate system, where we are adding third element in the matrix, and you can see the LHS here, point P dash, this is point P dash is given by x dash, y dash. That's the new point what you are calculating, and this third element is 1. So this element 1 represents actually the origin or the reference point. So what is our reference point? Usually we take the reference point as origin. So this 1, this you can call it as a homogeneous parameter, which should not be 0. If it is 0, it represents 2D representation, not homogeneous. Okay. Next here we have as per our formula, we have there the matrix which should be multiplied with the point. So what is that matrix here? As I already said, for translation the matrix M1 should be identity matrix, M1 into P. So M1 should be the identity matrix. So what is our identity matrix M1? We have here 1, 0. So you can just see all diagonal elements are 1, rest other elements are 0. So here the third element, so what is this? Tx and Ty represents So this represents our translational matrix, and as you already know what is a translation matrix here. How do I write this in the form of a matrix there? So x component is 1, and then the next element is 0, and now this is a translational parameter along x, so 1 0 tx, and then this y element y, the coordinate y, it's 1 and then 0, and the third element, that is translation along y axis, and the last row what we have, see, the first row indicates displacement along x, the second row indicates the displacement along y, and the last row we don't have any displacement along z. So here, that is why you can keep it as 0 0, but the diagonal element should be 1 because it is a identity matrix. I'm sorry, the second row should be 0 and 1, right? 0 and 1. So it is something like 1 0 1 0 1 tx and 0 0 1. So this last row is going to remain the same, 0 0 1. That means you are actually here performing translation along z. Along z means z should be equal to 1. So p dash is equal to translation matrix into the old or original point p. So here this translation matrix is a 3 cross 3 matrix. Similarly, let's go to the next transformation. I have the rotation matrix. We had the rotation matrix, a 2D rotation matrix, if you all can recall, that was something like this: cos theta, then minus sine theta, and then we had the next row which was sine theta, that's the component along x, and then finally the component of y was cos theta. So this was our 2D rotation matrix. Now we are extending this to 3 by 3 matrix. So how is that we write? The equation remains the same. It's the general equation. P dash, a new point that you get by multiplying a matrix with the old point. So what is that matrix? It's a rotation matrix this time, and it's not an identity matrix like how we had in translation. This is a rotation matrix. So what is a rotation matrix? Same thing, cos theta minus sin theta, whereas the third element is 0, then sin theta cos theta, then again third element is 0, and the last row is again untouched, that means it's along z. So in other words, you can write this as rotation along z axis. What is the meaning of along z? Z is equal to 1, z value actually is equal to 1. So you can just see here the LHS is representing the new point after rotation, and this is our rotation matrix, and this is our old point. So the final equation would be P dash is equal to RZ theta into P. So we are rotating along Z axis by an angle theta. So you can see the order of this matrix also is 3 cross 3. So it became the homogeneous, same type of coordinate system or the same order of matrix. Maybe it is translation or rotation. Now we have the last type of transformation, that is scaling, and we know what is scaling. It is increasing or decreasing the size, and for this again we require the parameter, that is scaling parameter, scaling along x and scaling along y. Along with that also we require the fixed point about which we are trying to scale, right? So here we have the point after scaling. So what is it? You write it in the form of a column matrix. So x dash, y dash, and this last element is 1, that represents homogeneous parameter. And then now the matrix that you're going to multiply with the original point is Sx. So this is nothing but the component along x, scaling component along x, then the remaining elements are 0. Similarly, second row represents the scaling factor along y. So it is the scaling factor along y, and then here we have the last row, that is representing the z axis. So we are performing scaling along z, we can say last row remains 0 0 1. You can just see all the 3 type of transformation we had the same, third row same. 0 0 1. Okay, so here this is a original point. So our final equation remains the same. P dash is equal to scaling factors or scaling matrix multiplied by original point. So this is also a 3 by 3 matrix. Now you can just compare all the three type of transformation had same order of matrix or the same type of coordinate system, and you call hence this as homogeneous coordinate system. Now we'll move on to the next type of transformation. We had three basic 2D transformation technique, that was 2D translation, 2D rotation, 2D scaling. Now we will just go for the inverse of those transformation. So what is this inverse of inverse transformations? We will see that shortly. Let's start with the translation, the first transformation technique, and we will discuss what is inverse translation. So inverse translation is the one wherein we are just performing the displacement in the backward direction. Earlier we had translated or displaced the object along forward direction, that is in the positive direction you can say, whereas now you are displacing the object or moving the object in the opposite direction, or in other words you call it as in the negative direction. So this opposite direction translation you call it as reverse translation. And what is a matrix? Translation matrix remains the same, 1 0 tx, 1 0 1 ty, 0 0 1, but all that changes there is the sign. Since it is a backward translation, not the forward, it's a backward translation, you need to write the translation factor as, see, earlier for the forward translation, translation factor was tx and ty. So now since you are moving backward in the opposite direction, this should be, earlier it was tx, or you can just take a live example. Suppose from 0 you have to reach to a position 5 along x-axis, again 5 along y-axis. 5 comma 5 is the displacement, 5 is tx and 5 is ty. Suppose if you want to come back to the original position 0, what you would do? From 5 comma 5 you have to subtract 5 minus 5, which is equal to 0, and again y coordinate also 5 minus 5, which will be equal to 0, so that you can come back to the original position, that is origin. So here what are you supposed to do now? The tx value is the negation of the forward tx, that is minus 5, and then ty is also the negation, and that is also equal to minus 5. So tx and ty is equal to minus 5, or in general you can write it as minus tx and minus ty, which indicates the inverse translation or moving the object in the backward direction. So this is how you can find out the inverse translation matrix. Next we have the inverse rotation. So what is inverse rotation? I can rotate the object along anti-clockwise direction, but if at all you want to rotate the object along clockwise direction, so you are supposed to now change the angle, rotation angle. So earlier if it was theta in the anti-clockwise direction, now in order to make it as clockwise direction rotation, you can now consider it as, so earlier it was anti-clockwise direction, so it was a positive angle theta. Now it is a clockwise rotation, so you are supposed to change the sign of the angle into negative. So negative of angle theta, which gives you the clockwise rotation for the object, and you can just see the rotation matrix, inverse rotation matrix. Elements remains the same, all that changes there is the angle, sign of the angle theta. So cos of minus theta, sine of minus theta, here also sine of minus theta and cos of minus theta. So everywhere the inverse rotation will have the sign minus or negative for the angle theta. And we all know cos of minus theta is plus cos theta, sine of minus theta is minus sine theta, whereas here again it is minus sine theta. Earlier the rotation matrix was something like cos theta minus sin theta and sin theta cos theta, correct? So cos theta, I can just write over here, if you could recall that, it is something like cos theta minus sin theta, and then here minus sin theta, and then plus cos theta. So this is our rotation matter. This was our positive rotation. Now it is a clockwise rotation, wherein I have to change the angle, sign of the angle. Cos of minus theta is plus cos theta. Then minus sin theta we had, no? So sin of minus theta is minus sin theta. So minus minus becomes plus. So it is sin theta. And then here it is and here it is plus sine theta, I guess, right? So there sine of minus theta is minus sine theta again, and then cos of minus theta is again it is cos of theta. So the third row you can just see all the elements, it is same. I mean all the elements is same as the previous translation matrix. So the last element remains the same. So this indicates it's a inverse rotation along z axis. Now we can just see the inverse scaling process. So if you are increasing the size of the object, that is increasing the size, that is nothing but positive scaling factor you are specifying. But if you want to decrease the size of the object, you are representing, or you are considering it as reverse scaling matrix. So reverse scaling matrix. So how do you apply reverse scaling? So for positive scaling we had directly specified Sx 0 0, and then again 0 Sy, and then finally, yeah, so this was Sx and Sy. So now in order to apply the reverse translation, you just have to take the inverse of that, or the reciprocal of Sx and Sy. So this reciprocal thing indicates the inverse scaling, that is in the negative direction. Suppose if you had increased the size of the object, if you want to get back the original shape, again you need to decrease the object back in the reverse direction. So inverse scaling factor is 1 by Sx and 1 by Sy. So we have one more term, multiplication of any scaling matrix with its inverse produces the identity matrix. So it can be any matrix, translation matrix or scaling matrix or rotation matrix. All these inverse matrices, if you multiply it with the original matrix, if you multiply it with the any of the scaling matrix, inverse with the any of the matrices, maybe it is scaling or rotation or translation, so it produces the identity I'm sorry, so it is a scaling only the scaling one, it will produce the identity. So you know the inverse translation. So inverse translation is actually indicating the minus sign, negative sign. So inverse translation, you cannot multiply simply with the translation matrix in order to get the identity matrix. So there only the scaling, since it is a reciprocal, when you multiply that with the scaling matrix, you get it the identity matrix.